Welcome to day 2 of Young Writers Week. We're here to talk about music videos and how they function as a storytelling medium. If you didn't catch the first video, we're going to talk about how music videos function as a storytelling medium, as well as its advantages, limitations, and how a person might go about creating a music video of their own. Now, music is one of the oldest forms of storytelling, but because we only recently developed a way of writing it down, we don't really have a good grasp of what music sounded like 1,000 years ago, except for that which was passed down by oral history. We have some songs that are older than we could possibly know. Telling stories through music is very similar to telling stories through poetry. Because you have a very limited quantity of words available to you, you have to focus more on expression in order to convey meaning. And when making a music video, it's important to know what kind of story the music itself is telling, because your music video can tell stories in one of two ways. The obvious way of making a music video is telling the story that exists inside the music. A lot of songs are based around a story. They have characters and they have things happening. And so a music video can be as simple as bringing that story to life. Most music videos follow this formula, if for no other reason than it's the most obvious thing to do when you're making one. Even I made a music video under this formula, but it's not the only thing you can do. The other way to tell a story through a music video is create your own original story that uses the themes and the feelings of the music to augment that story. Sia's Elastic Heart is a good example of this because it uses the themes of the song as jumping off point to tell a related but original story. And sometimes they function somewhere in between that. You have Michael Jackson's Thriller that kinda does both. In either case, music videos are referential works. Their scope and content is directly tied to the song in which they're based. This is neither a good or bad thing, but it's a factor that you have to consider whenever you're making a music video. You have to know what meanings the song has, what story is told in it, and create a music video that complements or augments that idea. Because music videos have such a limited capacity for explicit storytelling, you have a lot of freedom in how you interpret that story for yourself, and in how you expand that story for the audience to see. So let's get into the specifics. The clearest limitation is that your music video is directly linked to the song in both scope and in length. Although you can always play around with this. Your music video can be both longer or shorter than the song it's using. I'm looking at you, Michael Jackson.
Of course not.
No, it's too long. No, it's too long. You can't just... No, it's too long. You can't just... The second limitation is that most of your audience won't actively seek out your music video, and if they are exposed to it, they're probably listening to the music more than they're watching the video. This means that a certain amount of effort has to be done in order to draw a more passive audience into being a more active one. You have to catch their attention first, and then you can tell a story through it. Finally, you can use at most a couple sentences to introduce and develop your story, and the music is already said, so most of your storytelling has to be visual. This often means you have to rely a lot on symbolism and how your music video interacts with the song in order to tell a story. Most of these limitations aren't very hampering though. You have a lot of freedom in the way you have of telling your stories, and it's very rare for the medium to stop you from telling a story that you want to tell. And if it is, you can often just select a better song to tell that story. And that being said, the biggest advantage to music video is that music itself is great. Music is great. A good song will elicit a very strong emotional response from the audience that you can both rely on and use to tell your story. And in fact, you should be relying on the music eliciting an emotional response in order to tell your story. You only have a limited amount of time, and they're already going to be feeling that from the song itself. The worst thing you can do is try to tell a story that isn't backed up by the music you're basing the video off of. Unless, of course, you're talking about parody, like the Unofficial Sale video. It's a great example of mood dissonance, because songs will generally create a very specific emotional response in people, and so if your music video represents the exact opposite of that, you can create a fascinating emotional experience. Secondly, what is limitation to the form, the fact that the audience isn't explicitly looking for your music video is also a great advantage, because people will seek out your music video for unrelated reasons to your music video. You can attract a wide audience of people who are fans of the music, but not necessarily a fan of your work. It's a good way to build bridges between communities and get traction from audience members who would never have sought out your work before, and now they're getting to watch something that you've made. Simply because they wanted to see the music, and they looked it up on YouTube and saw your video. Now this brings us to how do you go about making your own music videos. First of all, getting paid to create music videos can be a very long and difficult journey to accomplish. However, they're very easy to make as a hobby or a fan project. At the very basic level, most smartphones have a camera that is good enough to film a music video. And since the majority, if not all of the audio is just the song that you're basing the video off of, you don't have to worry about sound recording, which is often the most difficult part of shooting good film. And so often all you need to get started making music videos is have a song that you want to turn into a story, know someone who has a smartphone, and then make it. Because filming a music video is a good way to spend an afternoon. Of course, editing a music video is often the biggest hurdle, and realizing you have too much footage of one type and completely no footage of another type, it means that you'll have to reshoot and have to figure out a way to fit that in and match what you did before. And it's a big hurdle, but you get experience doing this. Failing to make a music video is as good of experience as making your first music video. Luckily, there's enough free software out there that you should have the tools you need to do it. And a music video is simple enough in scope that as a beginning project, you should be able to overcome all of the hurdles that you're faced with. Of course, once you're interested in getting into more professional developments, I guarantee you there is a local band where you live that would be excited about turning one of their songs into a music video. So long as you have something to show them, a music video you've made to say this is what it's going to look like, that is how you start making music videos on a more professional basis. As always, the best way to break into the industry is just start doing it on your own. Thank you for watching this brief summary about how storytelling works in music videos. Do you think I missed something? Do you have any questions? Leave a comment below. And remember to check out the Ask an Author event on Saturday, March 18th between noon and 4 p.m. A panel of experts will be there to answer your questions about writing and how to get into the industry. Today I'll be introducing the panelist Rusty Knight. Rusty Knight is the lead moderator and administrator of the local High Prairie writing group Fellowship of the Scribblers, currently working on an epic fantasy novel titled Larette. I hope I pronounced that right, due out in 2017. So until next time, keep on writing. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the next topic. I don't actually know which. It's between 3. I just don't know which one's going to be tomorrow. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Or, one of the 3. Or none of the 3. It's your life. It's a request, really. You don't have to do it. It just would help. A non-zero amount. I think it's fair to say that wherever you're living, there is a local band. It might not be your favorite band, they might not be all that great, but music videos can be amazing even when they're attached to mediocre songs. I'm looking at you. Every single... I don't actually... No, I don't really watch music videos to songs I don't like. It's kind of the big issue, so I don't really have a lot of reference for that.